Hi everyone, how are you? I have to say that I'm a little bit confused about the Kiely Rodni case. Okay, so you all are caught up with it by now. I did an initial kind of my take on it, when it first came out. And I was just right there where I was, content to say that it was an accident and that people were reading too much into it. Okay? Then I really started looking at things, and as I live in a little backwards one sheriff town myself, as a local, I know how things happen. And well, I've not confirmed myself, which I now know that I need to do before I say or write anything, because everybody's watching every word I write, listen to every word I speak. That in the beginning, it was stated that Kiely's mother is an attorney. I have not independently researched that. I don't know what kind of an attorney she is, if she practices law, if she's only went to law school, if she is admitted into the bar, what type of law she practices, if she indeed is a lawyer. Now, her last name is not the same as Kiely's. So I know what her name is and I can look at it, whatever, but I just want to be really careful about saying anything right now, because if you all have not noticed, all of the creators are getting mass attacked this week. It was like the Hunter's Moon was out last weekend, right? And in our primal days, the moon would shine bright enough to lead light as the weather was beginning to cool. So it would lead to this long night. It was the best night for hunting. It was Hunter's Moon. It led the hunters late into the night. And so back when hunters hunted and used what they hunted, didn't waste, the natives were the original conservationists, and they thanked the animal for its sacrifice. That's the way it was. Well, now it appears that the Hunter's Moon just simply makes people more crazy and makes them come after creators like nothing you've ever seen. So, while I want to pontificate a little bit on what my opinions are on the Kiely Rodni case, right now, I would like to read her 18-page autopsy first, and then, and only then, I'm going to try not to say too much. I would really like to... Holy shit, was yesterday the... What week am I in? Like, seriously? Oh my god. Okay. So... Okay, I was looking at it wrong. As I say, last night was Friday the 13th. That makes a lot of sense why everybody's going... No. Nope. It was Thursday the 13th. Friday the 14th. Saturday the 15th. Good Lord. See, I got so freaking sick, and I don't have time to be sick. I have my surgery scheduled for the 27th, and so I don't have time to be sick. I had a lot of things I needed to get done in these 2 weeks before my surgery, because I'm going to be down for a while. Right now, I have minimal... Oh, now it just turned the 16th. So now we're at Saturday the 16th. In the past, I've not been able to rest appropriately after surgery, so I've had to have surgeries redone, and surgeries that did not work, were not successful. So for the last 25 years, I've been like babying my bum arm, and so I'm really supposed to not use my right arm at all for the first 2 weeks. It's going to be in this big ass splint with a the ball of my wrist goes around and everything, so it's supposed to be pretty comfortable. They put it on before you wake up from surgery. So I'm going to be definitely 2 weeks without my right hand. I'm very right-handed. So I had a lot to do. I did not have time for this, but I just got laid the fuck out with this virus. It just, I did my home test for COVID and I don't have COVID. Since I had COVID severe and then I got my immunization after and my booster, I'm in a good position to not get COVID. I'm still really careful and I wear my mask and stuff, but So anyway, I did not have time to get sick like this. And nonetheless, even though I'm sick, people have been just coming for me left and right. And I changed my mind on the Kiely case when I saw the emotion in the eyes of the Adventures with Purpose diver that came up after seeing Kiely. He was overwhelmed with emotion. He was holding back things he wanted to say. He said she was naked and in the back seat. Car was in neutral. One window was broken out. One window was rolled down. That changed my mind. So, when I have commented, very limited, I have stated that that's where my opinion changed, because I don't often drive naked from the back seat of my car in neutral with one of the back windows broken out and the other rolled down. And so the second that this autopsy came out 23 hours ago, where I had written that exact thing, I have somebody jump in my ass right now saying, naked? Where's your proof? And I said, well, Adventures with Purpose, the eyewitness said it. They said, I would like you to prove that. Fuck, I'd like you to kiss my ass. But you know what? I don't know who you are. And my ass is sitting right here. So, the fuck? Well, I don't understand how people can be so rude and just demand and command. I stated where I heard it. Go look for yourself. I am old as shit, and I don't know how to do these techno things that the kids these days can do. If I did, I'd take the clip, but then you know what? I'd probably get a copyright strike. So, as it stands, this is ruled accidental. This report states the items and catalogs the items that were on her body, clothing. This report says drowning. I'm not impressed with the wording and the inaccurateness of this report. They knew that it was going to be seen by millions of people and questioned by everybody. So why wouldn't they go back and dot their I's and cross their T's, right? Well, I guess maybe they did, and this is as good as it's going to get. Because generally, you're going to have like cause and manner, okay? And in your cause of death right here, it says drowning. Well, okay, great. Drowning. Well, drowning. Because she was found in a body of water? I mean, sure. You live in a sheriff's community where that's a sheriff. Her mom may or may not be one of the attorneys in town. She's 16. She was living hard and fast. And when I read through this autopsy, you're going to hear what I'm saying. And as a mother, I birthed 6, and I've taken in a few that are not birthed by me to do my best to protect anybody else from having to live the way that I did as a teenager. And I'm going to tell you that this girl was living more dangerously than any 16-year-old ever should be. And you're going to see why. And it may be that this small town protects their own. It may be that this lawyer works closely with this sheriff. Maybe they've known each other. Maybe there was problems with Kiely as she was living so fast as a 16-year-old. And that nobody could stop this fast train from where it was headed. And when her mother got that call, it might have been the call that she knew was coming for years. When I watched the show Riverdale, one of my favorites, I watch it and I'm like, okay, we're supposed to believe these kids are in high school and they're living like this, and these romances and these songs and these adult scenes and stuff. And you're just going, what kind of 16-year-olds live like this? Well, apparently in Prosser, they do. And with that, I will begin my reading. And please excuse my voice. I'm so nasally. I'm so sorry. I do my best to not sound so nasally because I am a lifelong asthmatic. And like I say, I have this terrible cold. I'm on 60 milligrams of prednisone. I still sound like, I don't know, just like I'm drowning in my own snot. And I'm sorry that I sound like that. And then I had that tooth pulled, and then this other tooth broke off because I turned 50 in May and my whole body is apparently just dying. It's just, my teeth are falling out. My bones are breaking. I'm just done. Like, I went 20 years with no cavities and, just had the most perfect teeth. And one of my surgeries, they look at your teeth before they intubate you before surgery, and the surgeon was like, oh, you have the most beautiful teeth, come and look at our teeth, everybody. And I remember that. And now that I'm 50 and having to go to the dentist because all of a sudden they just all decided that they were done, and I was like, no. Or is it because of all the people's teeth I've made fun of all my life because I had perfect teeth? Now they decided they're 50 years and they're done. They're done. And I remember a lot of people, like, in this time of their life, like, being at the dentist a lot. So I had a one tooth pulled, like I was telling you guys, right? Because I couldn't afford another root canal. Those are freaking expensive. And then you have to pay for a crown on top of it. I had it pulled. Because the other side, I'm still waiting for the crown. Because I was able to afford a root canal 6 years ago. But I've not been able to afford the crown. So a dentist only agreed to pull the tooth if I promised to finish the project on my other side and get the crown. And then when we're done with that, we'll put an implant in the tooth that I had pulled. So I'll have, because he said that I'd be fine. Well, what I didn't expect to happen, and he does not know yet, is the other tooth next to the one that I'm waiting for the crown just broke like the one broke that I just had pulled. And so it's like as sharp as glass right now. So I'm talking so weird because I'm trying to get used to my mouth with this big hole in it. The other side is like glass, and I have a cold. So I'm so sorry, but I think it's important for me to try and narrate this, even though I sound like shit and I am sorry. So with the apologies stated, here we go, darlings. So this comes out on page 1 of page 18 in the document contributed by Megan Cuniff, Cuniff, and Shanann Moon, the sheriff coroner public administrator. Wait a minute, hold on. So, sheriff / coroner public administrator, Shanann Moon. Is that saying that that person is all those things? Is that saying that Shanann Moon is the sheriff, the coroner, and the public administrator? I don't know. It's just a weird way that the document is. But anyway. So the coroner's final report of investigation. The decedent's identifying information. She is Kiely May Rodney. Her date of birth was 9/1/2005. She was 16. Poor baby. And that meant that she had a birthday. And she would have been 17. Poor baby. Sorry, sometimes my mama heart just goes. This poor girl. Okay, I gotta get it together. So her date of death is stated as 8/21/22. The deputy that was assigned to this is Deputy Mackey. She was never married. She's a female, white, 5'5" and 103 pounds. Her hair was blonde. It has BLN, and then her eyes were hazel. She was beautiful. Side note, she was just freaking beautiful. Just too young to have been living like this, and she should still be here with us. So, the remains identified, or how identified, were identified by Detective Strahan during the autopsy. And the relative's name is Lindsay Neiman, and that is her mother. Her mother's name is Lindsay Neiman, Nieman. And the place of death is Prosser Creek Reservoir. That's in Truckee, County of Nevada, State of California. The death was reported by a private dive company. They're not going to say AWP in this now, are they? So, one could argue, how do you know? How do you know where the death happened? How do we know that the death happened at Prosser Creek Reservoir? Okay, I'm trying to get through this without saying it. But all right, we'll proceed. So we go here to these next spaces. And it's the cause of death. And what you're generally going to see is you're going to see cause and manner. And it doesn't have that. So it has cause, they put drowning. Due to blank, due to blank, due to blank. Because often you're going to have, like, say somebody dies of a quote unquote heart attack. It's going to be like myocardial infarction due to atherosclerosis due to high cholesterol. Something like that, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I'll try to shut my mouth. So let me go to injury information. And the manner of death is accident. Place of death, Prosser Creek Reservoir. At work? No. Date of injury. 8 TAC 2022. They don't say the date of injury. And, in Truckee, Nevada, California. Now, here we go. And it says, describe how the injury occurred. And this is where they wrote, decedent drowned in a lake while inside her vehicle. Looks like it was signed by Jay Stranahan. I just have a problem with that language. Decedent drowned in a lake while inside her vehicle. There's just a million other ways that could have been written more professionally. And the word drown is kind of a... Here I go. Did you know that you can drown and not be dead? That there are people who have drowned? That a drowning can be an incident in itself and you can survive a drowning? It's true. It's true. And sorry, I keep eating Jell-O. I'm just still so sick, and I just had to put Jell-O in my stomach because of prednisone. Oh. And for those of you who don't know, I must have 1 marshmallow per bite of Jell-O because that's just the way it is. So, decedent drowned in a lake while inside her vehicle. You don't know that, but anyway. I need a shock collar or something on every time I try to interject here. So, we're over here, and the incident report is done by the reporting officer, Jason Mackey. The report date is 8/21. It states that the decedent's name is Kiely Mae Rodney and her address. And we have the date of birth was 9/1, her age 16, female, white, ethnicity N. Maybe Norwegian. 5'5", 103", blonde hair, hazel eyes. Residency 2, build, small, S, skin, bar, so I assume that means fair. Juvenile, no. Business, no. Non-disclosure. Huh. I'd say she's a juvenile. Isn't a juvenile under 18? And then all these other things are blank. You know, it has like local gang identification, comment, whatever. So I guess, if you stand for the Crips or the Bloods or whatever, they identify who you stood for there. But anyway, we go over here. And then we have the narrative. And we have the narrative reported by Deputy J. Mackey on 8/21/22 at 18:58, time of arrival on scene at the Prosser Creek Reservoir. Excuse me. The Prosser Creek Reservoir near GPS coordinates 39.374240, TAC 120.159936. Those are your GPS coordinates. In Truckee, California, 96161 in County of Nevada. The date reported, 8/6/22. Time reported, 1007 hours. SAR request reported to PCSO. And date of death, 8/21. Time of death, 2033. Time death pronounced, 2033 hours on 8/21 by Deputy Jason Mackey. Place of death, located in a 2013 Honda CRV, California plate 8YUR127. The vehicle was near GPS coordinates 39.374240 TAC 120.159936. Organ or tissue donor unknown. Contagious disease unknown. Medical information unknown. Cause of death pending investigation. Smoker, yes. Alcohol, yes. Remains identified pending forensic pathologist's report. Mark scars tattoo, none observed. I'm gonna shut up. You know what? I'm gonna get a piece of paper. I'm gonna do the Nancy Grace thing, and I'm gonna write down the things that are in error here. And this is why I am pissed off at this report, because they didn't go back and correct what they found later in the report. And what we know as laymen trying to find out the Scooby-Doo mystery. I mean, is this just the way that things really are? And that we've been spoiled by content creators who can make brilliant graphics, and those content creators then make incredible graphics on CSI and whatnot. And we see these shows and we see them all wrapped up, and we see this technology that doesn't exist. And when it comes down to just what our real world is this it? Is that our world is so different than what we think it is? And this is just it? Because, okay, shock collar again. So, personal physician, unknown. Personal dentist, unknown. Next of kin, Lindsay Rodney, Tack Neiman, and Daniel Rodney were contacted at California Highway Patrol's Truckee office at 21:45 hours on 8/1/22 and notified that there was a decedent located in the vehicle registered to Kiely Rodney. Positive identification was not able to be made at that time. Based on circumstantial evidence, the decedent was believed to be Kiely Rodney. They were advised of the pending pathologist's report for confirmation of identity and cause of death. The investigation, stated by the deputy, Jason Mackey, says, I was called to respond to Prosser Creek Reservoir to a peninsula southwest of Prosser Family Campground. I was advised a female decedent was located within the cargo space of the vehicle Kiely Rodney was reported to have been driving. I responded to the location to handle the coroner's case. I arrived on scene at approximately 1900 hours, and FBI agents and FBI crime scene technicians, Placer County Sheriff's Office deputies, California Highway Patrol officers, Truckee Police Department officers, and detectives from Nevada County Sheriff's Office were all near a tow truck. I spoke to Detective Saunier, who advised me that law enforcement divers had hooked the tow truck's winch to a vehicle under the water and were assisting with recovering the vehicle. I waited until the vehicle was removed from the water, and I was given permission to begin my investigation. So essentially, he walked up to a sausage party. There's a bunch of people. You've got the FBI. You've got state officers. You've got the private divers. You've got everybody there, and you're the deputy. And they bowed down to him and said, this is your investigation, deputy. You may begin your investigation. And that's interesting because with the complexity of this investigation, people have asked, why hasn't an outside agency been brought in because of the possibility of a conflict of interest, being a small town, etc., etc. So when we look at this scene and you see all of these people there, that's a lot of people. That shows the FBI was involved. That shows that State Patrol was involved. It shows that the Truckee Police Department and officers from Nevada County and Truckee, Placer County Sheriff's Office deputy. So what? Oh my gosh. There's just so many. I mean, I'm just trying to imagine like all of these badges just all sitting there trying to figure out what happened. And this is the best I came up with. Anywho, body position. There was a white female decedent located in the rear cargo compartment of the silver 2013 CRV, California plate 8YUR127. The right leg of the decedent was against the pillar of the back seat and resting near the headrest. The remainder of the decedent was behind the seats and not visible from the outside of the vehicle. FBI agents and technicians donned Tyvek suits and protective gear and entered the vehicle. The body was removed under my supervision by FBI agents and FBI crime scene technicians. The body was placed into a large vinyl body bag, visually inspected, and the bag was sealed. No items were removed from the decedent's person, and the remains were later transported by Truckee Tahoe Mortuary directly to the Placer County morgue. Bite a Jell-O, a marshmallow, and a Gatorade, and I'm almost ready to go. Hold, please. Excuse me. Body condition. The body showed obvious signs of bloating, lividity, and decomposition. There was skin sloughing, and no positive identification could be made due to the decomposition present on the face. Mortuary. Detective Saunier told me the decedent was going to be transported directly to the Placer County morgue and scheduled for examination on Tuesday. No mortuary photographs were taken by this investigator. Statements. I was advised by Detective Saunier, and I'm saying Saunier, Sonnier, I'm saying Saunier just because I had a friend with the same last name, and that's how he pronounced his. I could be mistaken. It could be Sunnier, but I think it's Saunier. So I'm just continue to say Saunier. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Excuse me, puff of albuterol. It's not a vape, I promise. It's albuterol. For all the haters. Albuterol. Albuterol. It's actually Ventolin. Same as albuterol. Huffing and puffing. I'm old and decrepit, I'm telling you. What you told, boo? You listening? I gotta have my boo-boo next to me. He's listening. He likes to listen when I talk. He's not figured out how to be a lap cat because when he jumps up, he has his claws out. So it's a very, very traumatic experience for all of us when he jumps up. So it works best just when he spoons me when we sleep. And then he'll just sit next to me while I talk. But he has to be on tissue paper at all times. He doesn't like sitting on the carpet. I have to have tissue paper or something for him. So when you hear that kind of crunching, that's just Boo getting a little bit comfortable. So He's my emotional support cat. He's right there in that picture right there of me and the moon on my broom. Right, Chipple? You being a good boy? Good night? Good night? Okay. Oh, some of this stuff is so hard to read. My mama heart hurts for this girl. Here we go. Statements. I was advised by Detective Sawney that he believed the decedent was Kiely Mae Rodney based on his investigation. I did not obtain any additional statements related to this case while I was on scene. Sorry, I repeated that, I think. Remains removed by Truckee Tahoe mortuary funeral counselor Alyssa Babcock arrived on scene and transported the decedent's remains to Placer County's morgue facility at approximately 21:20 hours on 8/21/22. No items of property were removed from the decedent. Any items taken from the scene will be noted in supplemental reports by the investigator or investigators. The vehicle. I was told the silver 2013 Honda CRV California plate 8YUR127 was going to be towed by the FBI and taken to their facility in Sacramento for additional processing. I was advised the vehicle will then be returned to the Truckee California Highway Patrol for their vehicle accident investigation team to perform their investigation. Case disposition. This case is pending the forensic pathologist's findings for identification and cause of death. Forwarded to Chief Coroner Sergeant Klinkenbeard. End of report. Attachments. For photographs of the scene and the decedent, refer to Detective Sawnier's supplemental report. Now I'm going to note this Nancy Grace style over here because I don't know that I've seen the California Highway Patrol accident investigation. And that would be really interesting. And I don't know if the 2013s had the little motherboard in there where they do, the crash report. Probably not, but it'd be interesting to see. And, if they examine the engine and whatnot. So now we're coming down here to another incident report. And it is from the coroner, and the reporting officer is Damian Nordine. Badge number 4002. Report date 8/23/22. And it's supplemental from Deputy Damian Nordine. And he says 10:17 hours on Donner Pass at the Truckee substation, Truckee, California, Nevada County. Unit TK2, watchguard, non-applicable, narrative. On August 23/22 at approximately 10:20 hours, I received a phone call from Captain Sam Brown. Captain Brown told me the decedent in the case 122-02506 had been positively identified as Kiely Rodney. After I spoke to Captain Brown, I called the decedent's parents, Daniel Rodney and Lindsay Rodney Neiman. I offered to meet with Daniel and Lindsay, and they both told me to update them on the phone. I told Daniel and Lindsay the decedent had been positively identified as Kiely Rodney. And I can't imagine getting that phone call. And that was a supplemental. Now we're going over to another incident report, and we're going over to the coroner, to Josephine Strachan, 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 Josephine Strachan. We'll call her Josephine. Detective Josephine. Let's just do that. So approximately 08:30 hours in Roseville, California, at the Placer County morgue on 8/23. She says, at the above date and time which I just stated, I attended the autopsy for decedent Kiely Rodney at the Placer County morgue in Roseville. At the completion of the autopsy, I collected the following items of jewelry removed from the decedent. They are stated as jewelry, miscellaneous jewelry, bracelets from the right wrist, jewelry, necklaces, jewelry, and rings, numbered as SK1 through 4. These items were transported to the Sheriff's Property Unit and booked. End of supplement. So now we're over here talking to, in the coroner's report, we are talking to Reporting Officer Klinkenbeard Jason. And this is the third supplemental report, and we are talking now to, on October 12th, 2022, at 9:30 in the morning at the Nevada County Sheriff's Office. in Nevada City, California. And this is a supplemental investigation says. This report was forwarded to the Coroner Division by Deputy Mackey with the Patrol Division. On August 23rd, 2022, Placer County forensic pathologist Dr. Gregory Reber, MD, performed an autopsy on the remains of Kiely Mae Rodney. Positive identification of the decedent had been made by Detective Josephine Strachan during the autopsy. Detective Josephine was present during the autopsy and documented her observations in the method of identification in a supplemental report to the Missing Persons Report, NCSO Case 1220, TAC 2364 with Supplemental Report number 14. I have recently reviewed the pathologist's final report of autopsy, which listed the case of death in this case as, here we go, finger quotations, as they did this in quotations too. I think they have a problem. It says, case says drowning. There were no other significant contributions listed. I conferred with Detective Saunier, and he told me there was no indication of foul play regarding the criminal investigation to the death of Kiely. The manner of death in this case has been determined to be accidental. Case disposition is closed as an accident. The attachments are the coroner cover, the toxicology report, and the autopsy report. So here we are at October 12th. So this was, as we've determined earlier, so the 12th was Wednesday when they closed this. And they got that's when the toxicology must have came through. Because in the beginning, if you remember, it came out that Kiely's parents could not be told the results of the investigation because of that pesky private dive company saying that it looked suspicious. And so everybody was all over the private dive company's ass saying, oh my gosh, because you guys got involved, then the parents can't even have these answers? What the hell? Well, I got out and stated that hold on, because in an unattended death, the whole investigation happens, and toxicology is known to take 6 to 8 weeks. So, the time period is there. There is no blame towards the divers that found her. But everybody wants to get all over the divers. Man. So anyway. Sorry, I gotta get more Jell-O in me. Raspberry Jell-O, by the way. So essentially Wednesday, when all of this, October 12th, Wednesday, yeah. When this hit, that's when this case was closed. And it sounds to me like it's going to remain closed. That all the speculation and all of the conspiracy theories, if you will, are done. I don't see them reopening this. I think that the parents understand. The parents don't want this further investigated. And that Wednesday, they closed this case and they're moving forward. Now, we're going to get to the toxicology. And here's what most likely caused the time delay in all of this. So, the toxicology report was issued 9/30/2022. Why it was not then pulled over and everything closed on the 12th. I don't know, but let me see here. Because they got the initial specimens on the 23rd and the report was issued 9:30. So that puts in there that week time. So then we're going to have to go through here and find out kind of where and what caused the other parts of the delay that do happen. My father, my biological father was murdered, and it took that amount of time for everything to come together with that time period. And I needed the paperwork to close out his estate. And so I remember the times and some of the things happening. And my sister died a few years later. And her whole autopsy took that much time too. So I have personal knowledge, and then I worked as a healthcare worker and worked in a hospital, and I've worked with other families, but have dealt with. So I kind of, I've seen the time period thing happen. So it didn't surprise me. Like I said, I didn't think, but still, with as fast as things can be done today, it's interesting, but I don't know. You're going to see this is going to kind of come together. And I need you guys to listen to some of this stuff with me because I can't figure it out myself. So the way this goes here is that the report starts up and it says patient ID, chain, date of birth, not given. Why didn't they give the date of birth? Sex, female. Okay. Okay. So the positive findings were ethanol, nicotine, caffeine, cotinine, delta-9 carboxy THC. Cotinine is a new word to me. Cotinine. Cotinine. Okay? These were all pulled from her liver tissue. Those were all presumptive positives, but the delta-9 carboxy THC was positive. The nicotine, caffeine, and the cotinine were presumptive positives. The ethanol was 88. So ethanol is alcohol, but I believe it's the off-gassing of alcohol, right? So I think 88 in ethanol. Let's say she's 103 pounds. She was 103 pounds at 88 milligrams per 100 grams. I don't know how that breaks down in decomposition. Being that she was underwater for that period of time, I don't know how accurate the alcohol would measure out to. With a girl about 100 pounds at 88, even breaking, you shouldn't be driving. You shouldn't be 16 and have that much in you, number one. But I don't think it's exorbitant. I think it's a little bit over the legal limit. And there's, I have to look, and I have not looked it up, but just based on just glancing at this, I think that it's saying that, yeah, she was drunk. Yes, she was high. Delta-9 carboxy THC. So, like I said, those were all pulled from the liver tissue. And part or all of the requested testing was unable to be performed. because they requested a test 805 2TI, the post-mortem expanded tissue forensic. I don't know. It said it was not able to. So what is that test? Test 805 T 805 2T1 that they couldn't do? Test not performed. Part or all of the testing was unable to be performed. Refer to the analysis summary and reporting limits section for details. Well, we will. And then the specimens received were in the tube containers. They were a white cap plastic container and a homogeneous container. The volume and mass of the liver tissue that was taken was 58 grams, and that was taken on 8/23/22 at 8:30 in the morning. Properly labeled, looks like. Specimens were received on 8/26. Oh, where's those 3 days, people? If they were taken on the 23rd and they were received on the 26th, put it on a snail's back and tape it? What the heck? So then, anyway, the detailed findings, they found the ethanol was 88, and then it has a report limit of 80. Analysis by Headspace. So report limit, I don't know. We got to figure that out. Tell me what you guys think of that ethanol being 88 in a girl of 103 pounds. Slender build. 16. The nicotine. Nicotine was 250. A presumptive positive with 250. Unconfirmed screen, confirmation by more definitive techniques such as GCMS is recommended. Caffeine was 0.40, unconfirmed. Cotinine, unconfirmed, report limit of 50. Delta 9 carboxy, THC, positive at 20. And then it says that ethanol confirmed is 40. So at the top we have the ethanol at 88. At the bottom we have ethanol at 40. Both conducted by Headspace GC. Why are there two reports of ethanol, both from the liver tissue, reporting differently? So it says, other than the above findings, examination of the specimen submitted did not reveal any positive findings of toxicological significance by procedures outlined in the accompanying analysis summary. The reference comments, Delta 9 carboxy THC is an inactive metabolite in the liver tissue. Delta 9 THC is the principal psychoactive ingredient in marijuana hashish. Delta 9 carboxy THC, THCC, is the inactive metabolite of THC. Ethanol, number 2, is from the liver tissue, and ethyl alcohol, ethanol, drinking alcohol, is a central nervous system depressant and can cause effects such as impaired judgment, reduced alertness, and impaired muscular coordination. Ethanol can also be a product of decomposition or degradation of biological samples. Excuse me. So the sample comment says that number 1, tissue specimen required homogenization. Number 2, NMS labs generated homogenized tissue sample. And due to the nature of the specimen, some analytes may not be detected by GCMS qualitative analysis. Unless alternate arrangements are made by you, the remainder of the submitted specimens will be discarded 1 year from the date of this report, and generalized data will be discarded 5 years from the date the analysis were performed. This work order was electronically signed by Brianna Peterson, forensic toxicologist. All right. Now, it says analysis, summary, and reporting limits. All of the following tests were performed for the case. For each test, the compounds listed were included in the scope. The reporting limit listed for each compound represents the lowest concentration of the compound that will be reported as being positive. If the compound is listed as non-detected, it is not present above the reporting limit. Please refer to the positive findings section of the report for those compounds that were identified as being present. Now, it says test 500-13T1, cannabinoids confirmation qualitative from the tissue, liver tissue. We go back here. And the analysis and reporting limits. And this is where some of the stuff is confusing. And you're going to think to Abby Shuto from NCIS when I say this, because I've been waiting to say this, because the analysis needed to go over to the liquid chromatography tandem mass spectrometry. What does she call that thing? The chromometer mass spec? I don't know, but I just keep thinking of Abby the lab tech when I'm seeing this, because what they did with some of the specimens is they put it through another type of testing, it looks like, what this supplemental report says. It's gas chromatography. Chromatography mass spectrometry, GC/MS. I can't say it because I can't talk. I can get my teeth fixed now. So anyway, the Delta 9 THC had to be canceled due to sample matrix problem. The analyte was the hydroxy Delta 9 THC. Report limit was 4. The analyte was Delta 9 THC. Report limit not available. NA, not applicable because of the cancel due to the sample matrix problem. So what they're saying is that the 11 hydroxy Delta 9 THC and the Delta 9 carboxy, they've got the good reading on the Delta 9, but the hydroxy Delta, there's a problem. Test 500-14T1. Cocaine and metabolites confirmation. Tissue, liver tissue. Analysis by gas chromatography mass spectrometry. The Abby tool says that there was an analyte for benzoligonine and cocaine, which the analyte is cocaine. The report limit is 200 ng/g, so nanograms to grams, and 160. Report limit is 160. I need somebody to look at this and see if they see this the same way that I do, because I see that this is saying it was positive for cocaine. In the other reports that I have heard just in the news, not diving deep into it, I have not heard them say that there was cocaine found. In fact, I heard the opposite. I heard them say that there was marijuana and there was alcohol, and that there was no cocaine, saying that the friend who had stated that she was given cocaine, taken cocaine, doing cocaine, planning to do cocaine, etc., etc., however it went around, that was not true. Okay? So where we're here on this document here on page 10 of 18, in the mass spectrometry, it looks like it is saying that cocaine is confirmed. I'm confused on this, and I need somebody else to look at it and tell me what you think, because I think it's saying it's positive. Tell me why this is saying it's negative. Tell me how I'm reading it wrong if I am. Because then we go down and we go through here, and it says the analysis for the acetone and the ethanol. And it shows that it was isopropanol and methanol. Shows the report limits. Shows them to be 20 milligrams to 100 grams. Shows the methanol to be 40 milligrams to 100. I would assume that they're just saying, okay, was that, what kind of alcohol was it? I would assume that breakdown is saying, was that beer, was that vodka, or was it nail polish remover? What kind of alcohol was it? So that's true. That's there. That's between the cocaine. We have this positive marijuana breakdown. Then we have the cocaine. And then we have the alcohol. But it has been reported that it was not positive for cocaine in the news. So I'm really confused on this page right here. And then we go over to the postmortem expanded tissue forensic liver tissue analysis. And it does an analysis by colorimetry, colorimetry, for salicylates. That's what it is. Salicylates. SALICYLATES. And it says the report limit is 800, and it doesn't show a report limit. So I'm not sure what a salicylate is or why it needed to be tested. I'd love for somebody to tell me. But I'll write it down Nancy Grace style. They'll check it out too. All right. So then it goes by analysis by enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, ELISA, for, this is where we go here, and we go to the benzos, the bupes, the cannabinoids, the cocaine, the opioids, and the oxycodone. So the analysis by ELISA did this. And the analysis by gas chromatic mass spectrometry, the following is a general list of analyte classes included in the gas screen. The detection of any specific analyte is concentration dependent. Note, not all analytes included in each specified class are included. Some specific analytes outside these classes are also included. For a detailed list of all analytes and reporting limits included in this screen, please contact NMS Labs. And then it's talking about how it's not able to see all of these things. It's not able to see amphetamines, analgesics, anoretics, antiarrhythmics, anticholinergics, anticonvulsants, antidepressants, antihistamines, antiparkinsonians, antipsychotics, antitussives, antivirals, cardiovascular agents, non-digitalis, muscle relaxants, and stimulants, amphetamine-like, and others. So then we come down here, and it goes down here, and it talks more about, again, the mass spectrometry, and it's a general list of analyte classes, and it says it can't do, and it just, basically said the same things again above, and it also says, it can't do amphetamine like in others. And it says that analysis by the headspace gas chromatography came through positive for acetone, ethanol, isopropanol, and methanol. And then we go to the next page, and that is where we are over here. And it is the autopsy record. And we are seeing that it is saying that the name is Rodney Kiely May, 16 years old, female, white, type of examination, RO. Date and time of examination, 8/23/22 at 8:30 in the morning. Identifying characteristics, eyes unknown, hair blonde, height 66 inches, and weighed 103 pounds. The undersigned, having made an examination, finds the cause of death to be immediate drowning. Due to blank, due to blank, due to blank. Other significant conditions contributing to death but not directly related to the cause listed above. There's lines to do that. Nothing. I would think that you would say something about the combination of substances in there. But, okay. So it says the specimens taken were toxicology stock tissue from the liver. And we are going over here, and we are going to the full autopsy report right now. So, with another sip of Gatorade, another bite of Jell-O, I think I'll be able to do more of this talking. I'm sorry, if I just don't put the Jell-O in my stomach with the prednisone, I just feel more sick. If you guys ever had prednisone, the prednisone stomach, it just feels awful. But if I throw Jell-O and marshmallows at it, it does better. I apologize for eating and drinking. It's just the only way I can get through this. I have so many more questions and answers in this, and I need your guys' help. Because I'm confused on the cocaine. Anyway, here we go. So, a coroner's ID tag is attached to the zipper pull of the body containing the decedent. Confirmation confirms the case number. The clothing. And here we go. Where I was under the impression that she was naked based on the diver who was the eyewitness. Based on this report, the diver was not accurate. Was it because he just saw her knee? The car was upside down. And he thought she was naked? I don't know. Because seeing this doesn't say that. So here we go. The upper body is covered by a spaghetti strap black French cut bodysuit. A pair of black briefs are on the lower body as well. The lower body is also covered by green twill pants with a black belt through the loops bearing multiple rivets. The belt appears buckled. A gray-green sneaker is on the right foot along with a multicolored ankle-length sock. A matching sneaker accompanies the body within the body bag. A matching left sock is inside the loose left sneaker. Except for the shoe being off the left foot, the clothing appears relatively normal in position. So how did the diver say she was naked? Personal property includes a white metal hoop through a piercing in the left ala nazi. I would think that's the nose, the nostril. I guess that if you're a single nostril, then you're a nazi. The right ear has 3 white metal hoops. through the helix and a small crescent moon-shaped stud earring through the piercing in the upper earlobe. And see, as I saw that, I put the little moon thing out here because I think that Kiely was into moons and stars and kind of a little budding peace child, if you will. So, the left ear has a post through the helix, a small ball stud through the upper earlobe, a crescent moon stud on the lower earlobe. Wow, it must have been so cute. And 3 yellow metal chains are around the neck, one of which has a small colorless stone, one of which has a small constellation-shaped pendant, and the third of which has a small disc-shaped pendant. An open discolored yellow metal ring is on the left middle finger, and a heavy darkened yellow metal ring is on the right middle finger. There are 5 bracelets on the right wrist, including a tan elastic band, a black fabric bracelet with a printed logo, a bracelet consisting of multiple black strings bearing a small disc-shaped pendant with an engraved letter, either a P or a D. The 4th bracelet is a light-colored beaded bracelet, and the 5th is a blue-green elastic band engraved with the lettering Bianchi and Lifetime Sea Otter Classic. A discolored string anklet is around the right ankle. A piercing in the umbilicus bears a white metal curved post with a small ball on one end and a white and orange metal disc on the other end. The orange metal disc portion has a central yellow stone. An engraving around the stone on the orange metal part of the jewelry reads Winchester 38 Special. That's so cute. This girl was just everything. Evidence of medical intervention, none. External examination. The uninvolved body is that of a slender white female in a state of moderate decomposition. There is a generalized sloughing of epidermis, except for portions of plantar skin which are readily separate from the bottoms of the feet and bear multiple toenails. A separately submitted segment of sloughed epidermis from one of the hands also bears a single thumbnail. There is mild bloating of the body and generalized discoloration of the exposed dermis, ranging from pale green to dark maroon. There is no remaining rigor mortis and no lividity pattern is discernible. A strong odor of decomposition surrounds the remains, and no postmortem insect activity is present. This is rough, guys. My mama heart hurts for this girl and her mom. The subject is normocephalic. There is no apparent external head trauma. The scalp hair is almost completely sloughed due to decomposition and consists of wavy blonde hair up to 22 inches in maximum length. Her hair was so pretty, too. I just loved her hair. That was not in the autopsy. That was me saying it. Her hair was pretty. Did you guys see that this girl was pretty? Okay. The facial features are distorted by decomposition and postmortem positioning. The eyes are discolored from decomposition, although there is a definition between the corneas and the conjunctiva. The anterior chambers of the eyes are discolored from decomposition, and original color of the irises and definition of the pupils is obscured. The conjunctivae vary from pale maroon to pale green. The soft tissues of the nose appear normally developed but distorted from decomposition. Both nares are patent. There is no palpable nasal fracture. Other midfacial bones are also palpably intact. The ears are softened from decomposition but appear symmetrical. A small amount of fluid is present at the right external auditory meatus, apparently from decomposition. There is no apparent discharge from the left ear. The teeth are natural and in good condition. There is discoloration of the crowns of the teeth, which have a pale pink stain from decomposition. The oral mucous membranes show deterioration from decomposition with partial sloughing. This results in partial exposure of the anterior mandible and maxilla. These changes all appear consistent with postmortem decomposition rather than trauma. There are no obvious intraoral injuries. A small amount of purge fluid is collected in the mouth. The lips are softened from decomposition and show loss of surface epithelium, but are otherwise unremarkable. So that's where we get to the point where they're saying, okay, there was no obvious trauma. The neck has a slender, symmetrical exterior contour without evidence of injury. The cervical spine is easily immobilized due to decomposition, but is palpably stable. The larynx and trachea are palpably midline. The chest is symmetrical and the chest wall is palpably stable. The breasts are normally developed adolescent female without palpable masses. That sentence was weird. The breasts are normally developed adolescent female without palpable masses. I'm missing a couple words, or it's just the way that it's medically stated. I don't know. The abdomen is slightly distended due to post-mortem tissue gas formation, but has a symmetrical external contour and shows no evidence of external injury. The external genitalia are normally developed adolescent female with a closely trimmed pubic hair pattern. Speculum examination reveals no evidence of introital or vaginal trauma. There appears to be a cap-type device within the vaginal vault. Asterisk, see below. The perianal skin shows discoloration from decomposition and is otherwise unremarkable. The upper and lower extremities are symmetrical and normally developed and show no apparent external trauma. An area of postmortem change on the left wrist at the radial side is about 4.5 centimeters by 1.5 centimeters, where there is a splitting of the exposed dermis, which exposes underlying soft tissue. The margins of this area are smooth, and the area is consistent with a dehiscence of a surgical scar. There is no discoloration suggestive of antemortem hemorrhage. Epidermis from both hands has been previously lost from decomposition along with the fingernails. The toenails have also separated with the macerated and sloughed plantar skin from both feet. The back is symmetrical and the spine is palpably stable at the midline. There is no visible trauma on the back. Scars and identifying marks. A small stippled tattoo of the number 17 is on the lateral right hip. There is a vaguely defined longitudinal linear surgical scar on the ventral left wrist. Postmortem radiographic scan demonstrates an orthopedic plate and multiple screws in the distal left radius. This is where my asterisk is, because she had a tattoo. They said up above that there was no tattoos. And since she's had this surgery on her left wrist, that's an identifying mark. I don't know why those two things were left out of that top of the report. And like I say, with as many eyes that were on this, you would think that they would do that. But she was 16. How'd she get a tattoo? You have to have permission, at least in my state. You can't have a tattoo under the age of 18. So, external evidence of injury. There is no apparent blunt or penetrating injury seen externally. Post-mortem radiographic scan of the whole body also demonstrates no evidence of acute skeletal trauma. There is no internal evidence of injury. The internal examination. The opening incision in body cavities, the standard Y-shaped thoracoabdominal incision reveals a subcutaneous fat thickness of 1.3 at the mid-abdomen. The pleural, pericardial, and peritoneal surfaces are smooth. No excess fluid or blood is found in the body cavities. The internal organs are normally arranged. I'm writing that down in serious style because I got a question on that. I want to read that one more time so you see if you guys catch this. The pleural, pericardial, and peritoneal surfaces are smooth. No excess fluid or blood is found in the body cavities. No excess fluid or blood is found in the body cavities. Does that seem weird for drowning? I just don't. Anyway, neck organs. The anterior soft tissues of the neck show discoloration from decomposition and marked softening. There are no apparent strap muscle hemorrhages. The hyoid bone and laryngeal cartilage show no fractures. The cervical spine is grossly intact. The cardiovascular system. The heart weighs 90 grams and appears normally formed. The epicardial surface is smooth with a normal fat distribution. The myocardium is softened and moderately decomposed and light red-brown. There are no obvious myocardial lesions. The ventricle walls appear relatively normal in thickness and the cardiac chamber is normal in size, considering the state of preservation. The endocardial surfaces and valves show light staining from decomposition and are otherwise unremarkable. The coronary ostia are patent. The coronary arteries appear patent and normal in distribution. Dominance is uncertain. The aorta is patent, follows a normal course, and shows light orange discoloration from decomposition. The respiratory system. Here's where I don't get how this looks for drowning, but boo, are you okay? You okay, boo? Okay. Respiratory system. The right lung weighs 100 grams and the left lung weighs 110 grams. Okay, so your lungs, what is a normal weight for a lung? Because I want to know, like, there's no fluid in her body anywhere. And her lungs look normal. Is that normal in a drowning? I don't know. So the right lung weighs 100 grams and the left lung weighs 110 grams. The pleural surfaces are smooth and the lungs are light maroon to gray tan. No anthoracic markings are seen. The lung parenchyma is moderately decomposed, soft and maroon in color. There are no apparent focal parenchymal lesions. Prominent tissue gas formation distorts the parenchymal architecture of both lungs. The larynx, trachea, and bronchi are patent and normally formed. Airway mucosal surfaces are smooth, light gray tan. There is no apparent airway obstruction. The pulmonary arteries appear normally developed and patent throughout. For a drowning, I would just expect that there would be more changes in the lungs, and I would think that it would show that there was air. It says there is no apparent airway obstruction. Well, shouldn't there be water in the airway if she drowned? I don't see how they can tell that drowning was the cause of death. How do they know she was not dead when she went in the water based on this report in the respiratory system? I don't get it. How can they prove that she was alive when she went in and drowned? I just don't see it. Where is Abby from the lab from NCIS with her spectromanometer? Because here we go here in the gastrointestinal system. The esophagus and stomach are patent, continuous, and normally developed. The mucosal surfaces are softened, pale tan to yellow tan with a decomposed appearance. No focal lesions are evident. The stomach contains a trace amount of particulate food material consistent with small fragments of peas or beans. The duodenum, small intestine, appendix, and colon show discoloration, softening, and focal gas bloating from decomposition and are otherwise unremarkable. In a drowning victim that has been underwater, if they had inhaled or taken in the water, how could there still be like the stomach contents? Because it seems like the water going in would have transitioned some. Seems to me that I don't see that they were able to prove that she did not die before being put into the water, because everything is like in a state of stasis. There was nothing messing up the stomach. I don't get it. I don't know. I guess it was ruled an accident, and that's the way that it is. And I need to get that through my head. The pancreas is small but appears normal in location. The parenchyma is moderately decomposed, soft and yellow tan. A lobular pattern is maintained and there are no apparent lesions. The hepatobiliary system. The liver weighs 400 grams and appears normal in shape, though diminished in size from decomposition. The capsule is intact and smooth. The parenchyma is softened, dark gray brown with a decomposed appearance, blurring the expected lobular architecture. No focal lesions are apparent. The gallbladder is normally formed. There is no measurable bile. Gallbladder mucosa is unremarkable and the bile ducts appear patent. The genitourinary system. The right kidney weighs 50 grams and the left kidney weighs 70 grams. The capsules strip with ease and the cortical surfaces are smooth, softened, and red-brown. Sectioning reveals blurring of the parenchymal architecture from decomposition with some preservation of the expected pattern. No focal lesions are identified. The pelvis and ureters appear normal. Now, I didn't just misspeak. It says pelvis, Pelves. So I assume we're talking about the bladder, pelvis, and ureters appear normal. I guess that I'm not sure what pelves mean because I know about ureters, but it seems to me the pelvis would be one word. But the way this says, it says the pelvis and ureters appear normal. The urinary bladder is normally developed and empty. Shows maroon discoloration from decomposition. The internal genitalia are softened and maroon colored from decomposition, but otherwise appear unremarkable. Diva cup is found in the upper vaginal vault, containing a small amount of menstrual fluid. A T-shaped plastic intrauterine device is also found within the endometrial cavity. (16) with an IUD. Not saying anything about birth control. I am not saying that. But an IUD is for a woman who's already had the children she intends to have and does not ever intend to be pregnant again. I understand that they're trying to push these IUDs to the younger population, and I think that it's tragic. I went through this with my daughter when she turned 18, and birth control options were made available to her, so if she was to make that choice, we had those talks with the doctor so everything was there so she could go and get whatever she needed whenever she wanted it. And when they brought up an IUD, I was going, what the double fuck? Because when I had an IUD, it was after I had had my second child. I did go on to have 6, but it was not anything that they were willing to put in a woman who was planning on having more children. I was not planning on having more children. I asked my tubes to be tied after 1. Because, when you're young, you just think you have your life already planned out. And 2, that's a lot of kids. A lot of kids. I was 21 with 2 kids. For goodness sakes. Figured my life was, pretty much well defined. Well, the way that an IUD works is that it makes your uterus hostile to a fetus. It allows conception. So you can fully conceive a child, and because of the composition of the IUD, and they have IUDs that I believe also have a hormone now in them, but the ones that I had in my day were made of copper. And so it made the uterus hostile. So it would not allow the baby to grow past a certain point, which can effectively mean that each month you are having a miscarriage, or another term for it, if you are indeed doing something that is causing that. For me, it appeared that I was having such heavy periods that I was really afraid that I was having a freaking miscarriage, But the problem is that I am allergic to nickel, among the many things I'm allergic to on this earth. And copper is made of nickel. So putting that inside my uterus caused it to get encrusted and scarred. And it was a horrible, horrible experience for me, and caused intrauterine scarring. And how I was able to go on and have 4 more children after that, and twins nonetheless, is a miracle. And I'm very grateful for it. And like how many other people had that happen. Now I can see from this it's a plastic intrauterine device, but nonetheless it's doing damage to your cervix, to your, it's painful to have this thing in. And the way that you confirm that it is in is because it's got these like fishing hook strings hanging out, so you feel the fishing hooks. It's just not a fishing hook, but the fishing line, like the two strings. I don't know, I guess it could look like a couple of tusks coming out if you were real shallow. I'm just saying that an IUD for a 16-year-old, not saying anything about birth control, about sexual choices. I'm saying that an IUD for a 16-year-old is not, don't let your daughters do that, please. It's just shocking. And painful to put that in, because they have to dilate your freaking cervix. How do you give birth? Your cervix dilates. Okay, your cervix is not this big thing, it's a little thing, and dilating it hurts like labor pains. I think that there are many other options for birth control, and especially for a 16-year-old. Like I say, this girl was living hard and fast for 16. Just, I mean, she was smart. How do you argue with this kid? Because she went and tested out for her. No, come on. Come on. Scoundrel, it's okay. You can come in. Scoundrel, it's all right. Scoundrel, come here. Come here. Boo Boo, don't jump on her. Scoundrel, come here. It's okay. Sorry, my cats are gonna yell at each other. They've only known each other for 3 years. They act like every day is a new day with them. Scoundrel, it's okay. Come here. Boo Boo. Boo Boo, don't do it. Scoundrel, come here. So anyway, I think there are other things, but she tested out. So how are you supposed to argue with a teenager who's living this fast? And she's like, I tested out of high school, so I just graduated. I'm 16. What do you do? I mean, I don't know. I am very sorry that this family was in this position. The lympho-reticular system. The spleen weighs 40 grams and appears normally formed. The capsule is thin and slightly wrinkled. The parenchyma is softened, partially liquefied, and gray-purple. No distinction between red and white pulp can be seen due to decomposition. The thymus is partially decomposed and otherwise unremarkable. No lymphadenopathy is identified. Lymphadenopathy. Lymphadenopathy. Lymphadenopathy is identified. No lymphadenopathy is identified. The endocrine system. The thyroid is severely decomposed and difficult to identify. The adrenals are markedly softened from decomposition, and much of the architecture is lost. The pituitary is severely softened from decomposition. Boo Boo, don't do it. Jump. Come here. Come here. I'm just trying to save you guys all. And the sleeping family from the big noise is going to happen if Boo Boo decides to jump on Scoundrel. It's never good. So anyway. The skeletal system. No acute skeletal injury is found on gross and radiographic examination. Dissection of the left wrist confirms the presence of orthopedic hardware attached to the ventral surface of the distal radius, consisting of a stainless steel 2-column volar plate held in place by multiple screws. Wonder what she did. I know that she was really active and was into snowmobiling and all kinds of stuff, so she screwed up her wrist. That must have been a lot of pain. A lot of pain. The head. Reflection of the scalp reveals light maroon staining of the deep scalp tissues predominantly on the right side, consistent with lividity under the effects of decomposition. The skull is intact and normal in thickness. The dura is soft and intact. There is no evidence of epidural or subdural hemorrhage. Removal of the dura reveals no skull fractures. The brain weighs 1,000 grams. There is severe decomposition of the brain with generalized softening and blurring of the external pattern of Giri and Sulci. Sectioning reveals loss of definition of the internal parenchymal landmarks from decomposition. There is no evidence of intraparenchymal hemorrhage. The materials used for toxicology are liver tissue. The materials for histology were sections of the major organs and saved as stock tissue. The post-mortem photographs were taken by Dr. Reiber and Detective Welker, and the post-mortem x-rays were done by AP Lotic scan. The evidence has head hair, pubic brushings, oral and rectal swabs and smears, cervical and vaginal and introidal swabs and smears, and the DNA card. The autopsy assistants were Destiny J. Moffitt, Brittany Brand, and Chrissy Myers. The autopsy findings are: number 1, the decedent was found in a submerged vehicle which was recovered from an inverted position in the lake. A. Postmortem changes consistent with prolonged water submersion. B. Moderate postmortem decomposition. 2. No external or internal evidence of significant injury. 3. Postmortem toxicology on liver tissue is positive for ethanol, possibly all or part from decomposition. Nicotine and cotinine, caffeine and delta-9 carboxy-THC, and they don't mention the cocaine. 4. Radiographic scan showing orthopedic hardware in a 2-column volar plate from open repair at the distal left radius. Cause of death, drowning. Signed by Gregory Reiber, MD, the forensic pathologist, on 10/3/22. So, that's it. That is it. What do you guys think? Is it closed? Is this closed for you? Does this sit well in your mind? Is this enough for all of the questions to be answered? Are we living in a society that asks too many questions? Should more questions be asked on behalf of Kiely if her parents are satisfied with the answer? I don't know. I would really like your input to see how I'm reading the cocaine analyzation wrong. I hope that this was an accident. I think that there are reasons why we don't let 16-year-olds behave in this manner, if we can prevent it in any way. And I just I kind of feel like maybe her parents were in over their head and they didn't know what to do anymore. And they did their best to just keep the peace. I know that there are significant questions as it pertains to liability, because it is rumored that her mother reserved that campground site for that party, which we know had minors under the influence of alcohol, marijuana, possibly other substances. Who was giving that to them? Is there a cause of action to who was providing that, who was aware of that? If you have a child that has a propensity for using substances and alcohol, and you rent a campground for them, aren't you doing that with the intention that they're going to sleep there for the night? And that your wish is that they do not drive? If so, why is that not the dialogue? Because I think that there are people who are really scared of getting in trouble here. And there's a conflict of interest by it saying this is accidental. By saying it's accidental, then there's no one culpable. If I guess that the way that I did things is I told my kids that, look, I trust you enough that you won't be doing anything stupid. But if you ever do anything stupid, you don't drive, you don't get in a car with somebody else who's been doing something stupid, that you stay wherever you're at if you can. And you just call and you say, hey, I am staying the night here. I'm fine. I'm safe. Or you call me and say, hey, I need you not to ask questions. I need you to come and get me at this address. And that's what will be done, is that you trust me to come and get you, and you trust that I'm not going to ask you anything, and there will be no questions about what happened. It's a you trust me to get you, then trust that there's not going to be a punishment. That, you know what, I'd much rather come and get you from a situation that got out of control than get the call that Kiely's parents got. I think that it is one thing to know that your child is drinking underage. It's a whole different thing for some of the other things. And I think that Prosser has been put on the map, and there are going to be some big eyes looking there with the amount of law enforcement that was called in. I think that it's probably time that things were investigated there to see what exactly is going on in that town, that they think that it's normal that 16-year-olds go around and live life like that. I mean, there's plenty of time to go and fuck up your life. Don't do it at age 16. Enjoy your young and firm years just doing the things 16-year-olds should be doing. And now you all know that, and you can see my shadow here. You all know that I don't hide anything from anybody. That I admit that I was pregnant my entire junior year. So I had my first baby 3 weeks after I had turned 17. So I am not saying that, but the terms in which I was growing up were not good. I had been through 14 foster homes and countless times in between of not having a home and being a runaway, and the kinds of things you have to do to earn your keep when you're, under 16. It's a tough life. It wasn't my choice. You think I chose that? I didn't choose it. I didn't have a choice. I was being horribly abused. I don't see that Kiely was being abused. I think that she was in a situation in a small town that lives fast. I don't understand the window situation in the car. I don't understand why the back windows, one was broken out and one was rolled down. She could have swam out of that if she was conscious, if she was alive going into that water. The bracelet she had on said, what, sea otter forever? This is an active girl. She was a four-wheel driving girl. Like, everything on her was fast. She lived fast. She liked fast sports. She was in shape. If she was alive going in that water, she could have swam out. Both windows in the back were open. There's no proof that gleans to me that says she was alive when she went in that water and she drowned. She could have lost consciousness, went into the water. If you lose consciousness before you go into the water, and then you don't regain consciousness, would that have stopped the water from going in her lungs? And that's how this is answered? Is that still a drowning? Or if she lost consciousness, was that from an overdose? Was it an overdose, not in excess, but of multi-substance? This girl was 16. And not being mean or anything, but she looked like she was 28. This did not look like a 16-year-old girl. Like, think about it. Think about the 16-year-olds in your life. When you saw the pictures of her and hear the kinds of things that I just read to you, that there are no secrets now, would that be what you would expect to find on a 16-year-old? In a 16-year-old's body? Very mature for 16. But it's sad. She didn't have to be. She didn't have to grow up that fast. Give your kids a childhood. Let them enjoy being a child. It's pretty easy. Just treat them like a human being. again, I don't understand how the diver said she was naked, because she clearly wasn't. I don't know. There's a story about me. And I think I've already talked about it, but my uncle told me, because I didn't understand, I'd always had these nightmares of being trapped underwater and being so stressed because I had to breathe, but it was going to hurt, and it did hurt. And I'd have these nightmares and not understand them. And it wasn't until I was like in my 20s, and my uncle said something about, how he saved my life. And I'm like, what? And he said, yeah. I had not seen my uncle in, probably 20 years or so. And he said, yeah, when your parents were drunk and fighting at the lake, they weren't paying attention and you walked off the dock. Don't you remember? Didn't anybody ever tell you? I'm like, no, what? I guess I was about, 1.5, maybe 2. And at my grandmother's cabin, I just walked off the end of the dock. And my uncle, who was probably, like 14 or 15 at the time, saw it. Thank God, or I wouldn't be here telling you guys about it. And, I was at the bottom of the lake, and he, had to find me. And I never knew. I never knew until well into my 20s. I've had those nightmares, and I still have them. They're not as ever since I found out about it, because I'd always go to like dream dictionaries and be like, okay, what does dreams of drowning mean? And it's always, it says it's like stress, that, you're so overwhelmed with stress that you feel that you're drowning, that you can't breathe. And it's understandable, the symbolism. So it just scares me to my core, because I know what that feeling is. It's very primal to me. It's obvious something that, before I could really put into words, happened to me. But I still have that feeling, just. And it was good that I didn't know it until my, 20s and stuff, because I loved swimming. I swam a lot as a teenager. But it would almost be better if Kiely was passed out before she went in, so she didn't have to feel that. And that's where I just get confused, because it seems like the water would be inside her stomach. Because I don't know how it wouldn't be. And then being underwater for that long, you would think that it would definitely be there. If it initially was in there, like if you're drowning, it would be in there and fill it up your stomach and your airway. The fact that it didn't just doesn't make sense. And doesn't the lungs are sponges. So wouldn't they, if you were drowning, wouldn't the lungs absorb that water? So the lungs would have been markedly heavier? I don't know. I don't know these things. But I know that I have a great audience who knows a lot more than I do. And I love the community that we have here. I am learning so much. And I just value the conversations that you guys share with me, the emails you send me. I love them. And I love each of you. I can't believe how nice you guys are. I just am amazed at how we are coming together as a collective group of friends that just don't take status quo. We don't see things like others do, and we're coming together and talking in a way that is so refreshing. And your kindness is so worth dealing with the trolls and the mean comments. And I thank you for all of the nice things you guys say to me and the way that you guys, banter back and forth. And I love that you guys interact with me on my community page because, well, I can't always take the time to sit down and record because even though my youngest will soon be 19, I'm still a really active parent, and that means that my job has been 24/7 for 33 years. And that when they turn 18, my job doesn't stop. I've got, 4 in college right now here at home. And they still need me. And I love that I'm needed. So I can't always, sit down and have 2 hours to myself to talk. I can get, a minute or here and there, and then I'll pop up something that, is on my mind, or, something that somebody said or something that somebody emailed me, and I'll be able to pop it up. And I love that then you guys see it and catch my little joke or what I'm trying to say, or, and it just keeps me in touch with all of you guys, which is so great. So once again, thank you all for being so nice to me, and thank you so much for your time, and I hope that I've been worth your time tonight. I'm sorry that my voice and jello eating and everything had to happen for me to get this report read to you, but I really want your input and it to help me with the questions I have. So I hope this opens up a dialogue, and please hit like and subscribe because it matters. And my email is tabithajane0@gmail.com if you'd like to email me. Again, that is tabithajane0@gmail.com. I'll look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.